it's one thing to sell on Amazon and 3D print stuff in your basement, but it's another
Right.
thing completely to have your product professionally designed, professionally manufactured with a branding and marketing strategy that not only identifies the consumer, but finds them in the right place. And that's what we do time and time again.
We help people with ideas get them to revenue.
Hey everyone, my name's Aaron.
And I'm Norm, and we are the hosts of this podcast and idea consultants at 52 Launch, a company that specializes in bringing your idea to the market.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking to you about what 52 Launch is all about. So hopping right into things, we're going to cover some frequently asked questions, some FAQs that Norm and I typically get on our calls with clients. So Norm, why don't you talk to us about what is 52 Launch?
We've been a company for, close to 10 years now, specializing in design, manufacturing, branding, and marketing. Really started in manufacturing, but realized that people wanted assistance in selling their product. So people actually come to us to pitch their product,
Yeah.
which is a pretty cool experience for both of us.
No, it absolutely is. And listen, it's similar to Shark Tank, but we realized the gap in the market, our co-founders did about 10 years ago when it's just so hard to start an e-commerce business. And we really we do our best to take on the burden of the manufacturing, right? All the back end support and really what it takes to launch a product-based business that you can scale easily. Because it's one thing to sell on Amazon and 3D print stuff in your basement, but it's another
Right.
thing completely to have your product professionally designed, professionally manufactured with a branding and marketing strategy that not only identifies the consumer, but finds them in the right place. And that's what we do time and time again, where we've really narrowed it down to a science, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I would say 52 Launch is all
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. And who do you think, should reach out to 52 Launch?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think if you have a problem in your life and you're wanting to bring a physical product to market, or if there's some sort of physical product that can aid your life in some way,
Right.
then I think absolutely, like, open the doors, fill out the form, come talk to us, right? Because we're not really looking for inventors, we are looking for entrepreneurs, right? And this is a process, this is an entire endeavor where you're really going to make some life-changing decisions here as you start a business, essentially.
Right. And there is no roadmap to bring your product to market, which
Yeah.
we have seen time and time again.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible to see the entrepreneur or really the inventor at the beginning of this entire process and what they become, when we're talking to them at the end of, their launch date.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anybody who's looking to start a product, or to build a business, should come and talk to us because we can really gauge market viability. We have a very, very good understanding of what sells and sells really well.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between a product that can really catch online and a product that just might sit on the shelves, which to us, we have to figure
100%.
that out first and foremost. Before we even get started on a product, we have to have a good understanding if this product can sell and sell really well.
100%. And listen, the magic of this whole process, right, is you have so much control in your hands. You're hiring my team to professionally start a business, right? We're going to work for you. You're the CEO of the company. And from the date you launch, you start selling, you're continue to be the CEO, right? We're not taking stake or equity or anything like that. We just want to be your back end
Yeah.
support, right? So ultimately the sky's the limit, right? Normally we've seen people, buy rental properties and,
Right.
build generational wealth, really. I mean, we've got some products we'll talk about later, but this is a really amazing opportunity. If you just look at the trends, everything's, transitioning to digital. Amazon is a giant, right? So getting on the e-commerce train, building a product in a niche where, people need it, I think is
Right.
just
And also just taking a slice of the market, right? 'Cause
absolutely.
those are the products that we've seen really take off
Yeah.
as the better mousetrap,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
The products that you're not having to necessarily reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
taking a slice of the market. You don't have to reintroduce why you should buy this product. It's a straightforward sell.
Yeah.
But what do you think people should do to prepare themselves before they come and speak to us?
Yeah, before they come and speak to us. So that's an interesting question you bring up because it's like we mentioned before, it's like the Shark Tank
Right.
pitch, or it's an elevator pitch, right? Where make it concise, first of all, but I would also prepare almost like a one pager, right? Of, what do you want this product to physically look like, right? We need to be able to understand pretty quickly what the value prop is,
Yeah.
right? How is this product different? Like, what sets yourself apart from what else is on the market, right? How are you different? How are you going to sell? What's the shape? What are some materials, right? On the marketing side, me personally, I'm starting my own accelerator program, and I'm using AI to um, create some logos, right? I want to get a feel for the brand. I want the consumer to feel a certain way when they click on my brand, and that's what I think is so useful for the marketing and branding team, right? Do you want it a rustic feel? Do you want it a more new and modern
Right.
feel, right?
It's
I mean, it's
cool.
so
It's cool that
important.
you bring up,
Yeah.
the fact that you're starting your own accelerator
Mm.
program. What went through your head initially to get you to, move forward with 52? And honestly, what brought you to the holistic skincare space?
Yeah, I mean, I've personally been using it's beef tallow
Well, I
if
could
if
tell.
you're curious. Oh my gosh. This guy, huh? Personally been using beef tallow for a while, right? And it's I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to have my hand in something, start something from the ground up, right? And eventually I was just like, well, why am I using somebody else's when I can use my own? And
Yeah.
I think that's really what started it all. And then also you have a background in e-commerce, right? And I don't, but I think I've learned a lot, right?
Right.
And how useful and how really how much money is made, like can be made in the e-commerce space, right? So I think it's huge. I think it's absolutely advantageous. And having 52 launch to do what I don't know how to
Right.
do is really the key to my success because at our core, right, the accelerator program and all of what we offer is building the best framework for starting a business, right? You're not gonna build a house on sand, right?
Right.
You're gonna build it on concrete and you're gonna let that concrete set. You're gonna make sure it's at the right company and you're not gonna cheap out.
Yeah,
Right?
and the cool thing is that you get to see a behind the
Yeah,
scenes
exactly.
of what's going on here at 52.
Yeah.
And so, you trusting 52 Launch with your brand
Yeah.
is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
So, when did you decide that you wanted to move forward with your own product?
Yeah, I think it was fairly early on, and it was I kind of had the light bulb moment when I, started working here, and um, I saw just so many ideas come in, and I was like, well, wait a second, I have the team to do it, and
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Right.
I filled out the form and I pitched my idea to Norm, and he gave me the okay.
And I was like, you know what? We'll let this one slide.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's really cool.
yeah.
It's really special of what these guys are able to do.
Mm,
These people really, it's incredible because each product is different,
100%.
but they put their own spin on anything, right? And
Mm,
obviously, the entrepreneur that pitches us the product
mm,
has the vision and is the CEO of the company, right?
yeah,
But at the end of the day, we always say trust the team,
yeah.
specifically because they've done this so many times before and they know how to make a product that will sell and sell really well. I mean, developing something that has a low cost per unit, but still sticks to the value proposition is key.
Yeah,
And we've seen it time and time again of what these people
absolutely.
are capable of.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because trust in the team is absolutely huge when, especially you're, entering a journey like this, right?
Right.
Um, but after you've pitched to the team, right? After you've gotten the okay, after we've gone back and
Right.
got the okay from our teams, right? And our decision making process have intersected. We're going to decide to go into business together to launch a business, right? Make sure that it scales and it sells ultimately. What should I expect on day one, after making that final decision?
Absolutely. It's a great question, by
Thank you.
the way. um, what's really cool is we get to turn you over to the team, right? It's a really incredible process to sit back and watch
Mhm.
because we are gauging market viability. We're not going to take something on that we don't think is going to sell and sell really well, because just like I said before, the last thing we want is to have inventory sit on shelves.
Mhm.
So throughout this process, we actually turn you over to two client managers,
Mhm.
one on the branding, the marketing side of things, and the other on the design and the manufacturing. So what's really interesting is that we actually get to sit down with the entrepreneur or the inventor and get a really good understanding as to what was their why in the first place,
Mhm.
right? Because in this moment, we can't just be storytellers. We actually have to be story sellers. We got to sell that story and why they came up with this product.
Yeah.
What problem are they solving?
Yeah.
And obviously, we've taken so many notes. We've turned over everything to the team,
Mhm.
but we want to have a very, very good understanding as to what was their why in the first place and what their vision is long term.
Yeah.
So we actually sit down in a boardroom with a kickoff meeting, go back and forth onto exactly what their why is, what they want the product to look like, what they want the product to feel like. And we go back and forth with design iterations. If you like the first iteration, we're going to move forward into 3D CAD modeling. And if you don't, we'll take a step back and redesign the product. But it's really cool when you get to see on a computer screen
Yeah.
what that product looks
100%.
like from a 360 view, because it changes your perspective on, this is a reality now. This is not just in my head. This is now, I can see this, from all angles, right?
Right. And I mean, even on that, like our business model as a manufacturing company, right? It's absolutely imperative that we're getting you the information about like your manufacturing cost per unit, right? Because our job and one of the jobs of the team is to make sure that you can be profitable, or that you are going to be profitable within, on average, the 20 to 40% range, right? That
Absolutely.
we're, selling competitively. We're going to be competitively priced within the market. This is one thing to take care of the back end operations, but if I'm not being transparent with you regarding the materials or the design of it or how I'm actually going to put together the product, right? That is all going to impact my retail price at the end, right? And either if I'm going to price myself out of the market by taking unnecessary steps in the design phase, that's only going to hurt me, which at 52, our team avoids
Right.
100%, because again, we know what the process looks like. And we know how to do this efficiently and well.
100%.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to have a pre-production sample stateside that we can go over, the positives and negatives of that pre-production sample. And then upon the client's approval, we actually order about 1,500 to 2,000 units, and it's in that moment, right? Because obviously we don't want to just sell 1,500 to 2,000 units. We want to sell 50,000 to 100,000 units. That's when we're both making significant revenue. And quite honestly, business is binary, right? We're either making money or we're losing it. We're both in this to make significant revenue, the client and 52. So, in that moment, they're going to have a good understanding for what the cost per unit is going to be, right? How much inventory they're buying, what the tooling cost is going to be, right? Because obviously, there's a certain cost to work with our team, right? But there is out-of-pocket costs, and in that moment, we are making sure that there is full transparency with what the product is going to cost in the long run, right? So now we're going to have inventory stateside. We can actually box, label, and ship your product direct to consumer, which is also a pretty cool thing. So you mentioned the Accelerator program, and I just want to make sure that everybody viewing understands what the Accelerator
100%.
program is.
Yeah.
It's all about bringing your product to market the right way.
Yeah.
And to do it the right way, we have to go through design, manufacturing, branding, and marketing, because those are the steps to do it, the right way the first time.
Yeah.
So talking about the Accelerator program, what do you think really is the challenge for a lot of inventors versus entrepreneurs?
Right. I think it really stems from like mindset, right?
Right.
And your goal really, as early as when you're creating that one pager, like we mentioned before, or when you're just pitching your idea to us, right? It's fairly easy to tell, right? But it's, again, you have a problem in your life, right? And there's a physical product that is going to solve that problem, right?
Right.
What do you want to do with it past that? Do you just want it to be able to say that you've done it? Or do you want to make some money and sell it to the masses, right? So you can see inventor, entrepreneur, which is all kind of stems from your mindset on what you want to do with this, right?
Yeah.
Because we allow you to be, our business model is you're going to be the CEO of this business, right? You're going to be making all the top line decisions, right? So I think it really stems from how are you coming in day one? And then kind of going on from there, because there's definitely a difference, right? For example, we've had a number of clients who we're just born saleswomen, born salesmen, and they weren't afraid to go to the conventions and invest and make decisions quickly and stick to them, right?
Yeah.
And it paid off in revenue, and they're living great lives because of it.
What actually ends up, they are some of our most successful clients.
100%.
Which is really interesting, and it comes down to even some of the products that we didn't think were going to sell, like Lobster Nativity.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
a perfect example. He's someone that really is a go-getter. He goes out to the trade shows. you can see on a regular basis,
Yeah.
he is there in person
Yeah.
selling his product, right?
Yeah.
Not just online.
Yeah.
You know, he's at the booth.
Mhm.
He has a team with him, you
Mhm.
know, selling those products throughout the holidays, and they sell really, really well.
They sell well. They sell
Right.
really well, and it's honestly like, and the science that we have, right? It comes down to a math equation, right? Because your e-commerce, right? You're an online business. You got to make sure you're paying ads to get on all the
Absolutely.
online channels, and it's essentially how many monthly website visitors with a usually on average it's 2 to 4% conversion rate on your website. So if I get 10,000 visitor a month with that 2% conversion rate, I know approximately what my revenue is going to be, right? And then you're playing the game of how do I increase my conversion rate and the number of visitors for your website, right? So
Absolutely.
it's working with influencers, working to get on Instagram or TikTok Shop or any of the online platforms.
And there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah,
There's a lot that
100%.
goes into it, but
100%.
52 Launch has, you know, the network,
Yeah.
and, you know, marketing, the marketing abilities to actually assist you in selling
Yeah.
product, right?
Yeah.
But there are people, right, who have decided entrepreneurship isn't for them. So,
Um,
you know, talk to me about, if that decision ever comes up,
mm.
what does that look like? And is
Yeah.
there an exit strategy?
No, there 100% is. So we have a sister company called 52 Capital, all right? And that is really because again, we don't take on everybody,
Yeah.
right? We're very selective with who we take on, but there's a percentage of those who get through the process and they start selling and it's tough out there, right? With even with, all of the assistance we can provide, it is hard, right? And some people eventually or they make the money they want to make and they want to get out,
That's also
right?
true.
So 52 Capital, we provide an exit strategy for a lot of people, right? So it's a security blanket essentially for being able to absorb your business, absorb your inventory, in the event that, you bought your beach home, in the Bahamas already and you're ready to go. You don't want to manage this anymore. 52 Capital, we can work out a deal. We can work out a deal that's more than fair for both sides. We've done it time and time again. And it's something we love to do. We love to support you in that way.
Speaking of 52 Capital, we have a product called Chute 21 that we worked out a deal with the entrepreneur. And it's an incredible play on the backyard game, cornhole.
Yeah,
Cornhole.
and it's a really fun interactive game for all ages,
Yeah.
whether you're at work, at the beach, or at a backyard barbecue. I mean,
It's a real hit with our friends. We actually bring it around
exactly.
to different events, and
Yeah.
they love it. It's definitely one of those cool products that you take a slice of the market of.
Yeah.
And they came to us with an idea, and we ran with it.
Yeah, and we're all quite excited to see how much
Yeah.
success this is gonna,
Yeah.
overcome in the next few years.
It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is.
So we've talked about 52 Capital,
Yeah.
Chute 21,
Yeah.
a product that is really, really taking off. But I want to talk about, current products that have launched, have been in business for a couple of years now that are doing really, really well. Let's talk about Raven Grip.
No, absolutely. One of our most driven entrepreneurs actually came to us with this product, right? And it's designed to keep your phone right on the golf cart, right, or your push golf cart, whatever your preference is, right? And I know it helps me in a number of different ways.
Yeah, it helps me as well because,
Yeah.
I love 18 Birdies. I love that app. I'm able to keep, track of yardage as well as my score. And having my phone just be able to magnet right to a product like this is pretty helpful.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and it's very, very easy to even get your logo for your country club right on the golf
Yeah,
club
that's
here.
that's pretty
There's some
incredible.
customizable options as
Yeah.
well. But speaking of golf, right, we have another entrepreneur who came to us with the product Klock at Golf. I actually use this one personally, and it reduces your need actually to go to the driving range.
Yeah.
Right, so you don't need a huge amount of distance. You don't need a ton of land, but you can practice. Whether it's your sandwich or your driver, it's just a wedge right into the ground, and you're essentially off to the races. And it's the same ball over
Yeah.
and over.
And it's great to transport. You can take this anywhere, which is really, really incredible.
100%.
And transitioning to our top client, Eggmazing. Eggmazing is one of those entrepreneurs that came to us. He was a blue collar worker. He had an idea to really change the industry. We essentially just thought it was a better mousetrap, but completely turned the industry on its head. He's got multiple different craft products now. Eggmazing does millions in revenue,
Yeah.
which is pretty impressive. Over time, they've really, really grown into an incredible company. And they have also pitched on Shark Tank, like a handful of our clients have,
Yeah.
giving us a pretty incredible name in
Yeah.
the product development space,
Yeah.
which has really helped us over the years. Eggmazing is one of those products that continues to grow and change the industry. And now they're getting into retail spaces. They're definitely a company that will continue to change the industry.
100%, and it's just so exciting to be here at 50 Launch to see the success and really that there is no ceiling here
Yeah.
because a company like Eggmazing leads the way for other products that we're seeing start every single day here at 52 Launch.
Yeah.
Right?
And just to think, the prototype was just this 3D printed egg spinner, right? And the shell, the casing, that's really what made it into the product that it became.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And they trusted the team. They trusted 52 Launch, which we hope whoever pitches us a product, you end up trusting the team
Yeah.
because, we're here to discuss market viability, see if it's a product that we even want to take on, right? Specifically because, again, the last thing we want is to have inventory sit on shelves.
Yeah.
We want to sell product.
Yeah.
And being your manufacturer, we need this relationship to grow.
If you want to learn more about 52 Launch, go ahead and click this link below. And if you have an idea that you just can't stop thinking about, go ahead and click this link. It'll bring you to a page to fill out your information, and you'll be able to book a free consultation with Aaron and I and bring your product to market.